Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK journey video. In this video we're going to talk about Shadewing because I have cleared all 1000 Apex stages. I did a massive push today, like 14 hours straight, and I saw a fair amount of record formations using Shadewing and AFK stages along with Saida. That was basically the only synergy which was working, and I just want to show you some replays because I sent them all to Dreamer, who is a really hard pusher in AFK stages. And he also thinks Shadewing could have some potential use in the future for AFK stages, especially if in the future we get good Graveborn Phantimals for AFK stages or PvE content. Okay, so this was the final Apex stage 334 of the regular stages, the non-Phantimal, basically the last stage I cleared, and it was using Shadewing along with Saida, and my Shadewing is just literally minimum investment, Supreme Plus, plus 10 exclusive equipment, I mean minimum functional investment, and you're gonna see what basically happens here. Now, of course, you guys know that Shadewing needs continuous damage in order to lash out his curses, which deal the high true damage. But if you have a hero like Saida in AFK stages, of course, once she casts 3 ultimates, even though Shadewing is dead here, the curse is still applying to the enemies, and you're going to see it lashing out. There was 1 dagger, goes to 2 daggers, and now you can see it lashing out frequently, like every 3 seconds, for example, and that is going to be dealing bonus true damage. Now, the real question is it necessary? And it isn't. That's kind of the funny thing. Like, Shadewing, yes, he deals good damage and he has synergy with Saida, but you don't need him in the team in order to clear these enemies. Like, it's totally fine for you to clear them just with the Saida and Valara combo. And then you might be thinking, well, is it possible for you to replace Valara and just run Shadewing for his raw damage? But no, it isn't quite good enough. So you still need Valara and you need Saida, and they're good enough on their own to kill pretty much any enemy. And so Shadewing is just adding extra damage, but it's not needed, right? So if we just want to talk about Shadewing in a nutshell. And the core comp you're going to see, and this is for a lot of AFK stages, is Thador and Mehira, because Mehira groups up the enemies with that initial charm, and then Thador, you just have it on manual battle, as you guys probably see here, and you just have him never cast his ultimate, because that means he's just going to keep cycling his, like, blade sweep attack, which stuns and knocks down enemies, and they're going to be basically chain CC'd for the whole match, just allowing Saida to get off all of her ultimates, and then her magic spikes come into blood spikes come into play. So that is basically the kind of meta for these AFK stages. But Shadewing basically added more damage on top of it. I'm going to go ahead and show you. We have a bunch of replays that we will show you just against different enemy team comps that I was able to find. However, what I did notice was Shadewing was lacking and not really usable when you needed extra crowd control. For example, if the enemy is really difficult to keep locked down, then you would need another crowd controller in the team, like an Iron, for example, rather than Shadewing. And we have some examples of comps like that in my replays that I've sent as well. But here you have it. So Shadewing actually survived in this match. And when he survives, he's going to get off even more damage. And that's why when you look at the damage at the end of this, it is high. So the good news is at least this HP loss damage of Saida is going to be proccing the curses to lash out from Shadewing. So at least that mechanic is working. And if you guys remember, there was a patch note that said that the Shadewing basically mechanic was fixed for AFK stages, and so I think that's probably what happened. So it is working now, I guess, as it should be. So there we have that one. We have another one over here. Here probably, if you notice that Shadewing doesn't even out damage Saida, even at the Supreme Plus level, he normally out damages Saida by like 50%. But if he doesn't, it's probably because he died. But even when he dies, that the damage from the curses lashing out is still going to be high enough to make him a good option. And this, I believe, was a full auto. So there's actually a full auto record formation, and I did a full auto clear as well, as you see right now. And so Shadewing does go down, and it did work. So if the enemies are not too difficult and too annoying to lock down, you can run just the Mehira Thador combo that is enough crowd control, and then just have additional damage on top of it. Now, one thing, if you guys do a lot of AFK stage pushing or use Saida, you'll notice there are some enemies in AFK stages, for example, the statues or like those Dead Tide Warrior type enemies, those like Serpent type enemies, who basically are not crowd controllable. And if you cannot crowd control them, Saida cannot get off any damage. And if Saida cannot get off any damage, Shadewing cannot get off any damage. Like, Shadewing is just basically a damage booster pack for Saida. That's basically how it works, or for any continuous damage dealer, but really the only one you would be using in AFK stages is going to be Saida. Okay, I'm going to show you a Phantimal stage. So one of the last Phantimal stages that I cleared was also using Shadewing, right here, I think up here. So yeah, we got Shadewing, 661 of Phantimal Apex stage. One of the final ones, 666 was the actual final. And it was with Shadewing. Although, did he really do much here? I'll leave that up to you to decide. But it was, of course, Bailran as the tank and bonus damage. And then Valara. Valara is basically necessary. And this was a Lily May enemy team, so you had to like kind of do manual timing of your ultimates to try and not have your key heroes like Valara being interrupted by the enemy Lily May. So Shadewing goes down early here, but the thing about his curse is that it's going to stay on the enemies. And it does also have a defense shred, his curse, but the defense shred is not really that important for AFK stages, because again, like in these high deficit stages, you're going to be doing HP loss damage, whether it be from Bailran, whether it be from Saida, and that ignores defenses anyway. And any other form of damage that these heroes have is very negligible. So that defense shred from his curse is not really impactful, and like that's why I was saying I thought it would just be nicer if he had some sort of like attack debuff to improve your survival, because then maybe it can allow you to outmaneuver enemy teams a little bit more effectively. But here you have it. This was a Phantimal stage. He was also working, but again, was he needed? No, that is basically the thing. So I'm going to show you an example here when more crowd control is needed in a stage. So for example, this was 319 of the Apex stage. There was no record formation with Shadewing. It was just not working because obviously if the enemies are going to be more annoying or jumping around the map, you need to be keeping them locked down more effectively, and like Lucy is great for that. Iron can also work. Thador and Mehira on their own is not enough. And then of course there's no room in the team for Shadewing. And like you need to have Valara, like we said, the Valara Saida combo is essential, or Valara Bailran combo, Valara Pheromore combo. Whatever you're running is going to be Valara in these high deficit AFK stages in order to actually give you the kill potential. Shadewing plus Saida is not enough damage. It will not be able to kill these high deficit enemies. You need Valara in the team. So then what is Shadewing really offering? So that's basically the thing. Now, we did see at the beginning of this video, we saw the note from Dreamer saying that he does believe that if there's some Graveborn Phantimal in future seasons, which is really good for AFK stages, then definitely there could be some value there. And I think even potentially for some boss content, or if they're multi-target bosses you're facing, somehow, like that has never really happened before in Dreamon, but if something like that happens, I could definitely see some use of Shadewing, because, but the thing is, he specializes in AoE damage. When you're talking about a boss, all that AoE damage is wasted, and only one portion of it is actually dealing damage to the boss, and it just feels inefficient, right? So yeah, there you had it. You needed the crowd control. It was not clearable with a Shadewing type comp. Okay guys, we're going to end off with this one because this was a really good clear for my guild leader. He cleared a floor which I was unable to clear with Shadewing. Maybe it's because he has a more invested Shadewing, or he is just better at manual battling AFK stages. But he did really, this was amazing because this was a tough opponent, basically. Diurnal, Taline, Diurnal ultimate, Taline ultimate, they're just going to nuke your whole team. So you need to keep them locked down. Saida jumps into the back, I think, trying to get onto the Diurnal, and then she's going to have to go and reroute to the front to the Taline here. Thador, though, if you and this is just a manual tip, you do not put the Thador, you just have him never cast his ultimate until Saida's blood spikes are active, and then you can do whatever you want. But because his ultimate can sometimes interrupt his sweeping sword attack, and that is going to reduce your lockdown potential. So right here, Shadewing goes down early, but somehow his Saida was able to survive long enough for her to get off her 3 ultimates, and now they're locked in place. And then, of course, Valara is just going to wait. She's just going to, charge up, and it will be GG from here. But the interesting thing is, even after dying, Shadewing still has that damage output potential. Now, one final thing we have to talk about is Shadewing also has really good charm quality bonus this season. So, even with basically all the things kind of going in his favor as much as possible, he is just seeing mainly use right now in AFK stages, and like we said, it's not really needed. There were plenty of formations without Shadewing, by the way. It wasn't like it was only clearable by Shadewing. No, it's that, it's just a cool that you can clear it with Shadewing, but you could probably clear with pretty much any character, to be honest. So looking at the Shadewing, his charm quality bonus this season gives him more tankiness, and that is really important for his survival. But even with this tankiness, this reduction of damage taken by 35%, he's and then also immunity for fatal blow. He still would die. He still has survival issues, which, imagine if he doesn't have these charms in the future season, like how easily is he gonna die? He's basically like paper, and that's also why in PvP he's just not very effective for that reason. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for this video. Let me know your thoughts about Shadewing in the comment section down below. Do you have any other experience with him? Let me know. I'm interested to hear about that. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you're not already a member of my AFK Journey Discord server, please join that. There is a link to that in the description of this video. Also, if you're thinking about making a purchase in AFK Journey, please use my affiliate link for the official Farlight store. There is a link to that in the description of this video in a pinned comment. This is the best way you can support me and also gain 5% bonus dragon crystals on your purchase. So thanks for watching. I'll hopefully see you in the next video. And until then, everyone, peace out for now.